virtualization server, and you have a cloud PC device, which actually executes the application, and they connect over a network. So you've got some options, and the people at CentriNet can help you understand which of those options makes the most sense for you. Now, when you look at different types of thin client devices, you'll also be presented with another set of choices. Across the left hand, you see 4 different choices: Windows Embedded, Wyse Enhanced SUSE Linux Enterprise, Wyse ThinOS, and Wyse Zero Engine. These are simply the 4 different types of software that can be built into a thin client. And they deliver different benefits, as you can see by the dots. So if I want to have a thin client that has support for local Windows applications that are built right in, I want to be able to support lots of web applications with a real Internet Explorer, the PC over IP protocol and multi-protocol capability, Windows Embedded is an excellent solution for that. Going to the opposite end of the spectrum, all the way down to that Wyse Zero Engine, if I really want a device that is super fast with instant-on capability, I want it to manage itself, I want it to be completely virus immune, so I don't even need to worry about protecting it, and I want it to be a true zero client, I use Wyse Zero Engine. And if you want something in between, you see we have options for that as well. The folks at CentriNet can drive you through all of these options, help you zero in on exactly the right solution that makes your life a breeze. So what I wanted to do is take a moment and talk about a zero client. And I'm going to give you an example based on a Citrix environment. Now, many of you may have a VMware environment or a Microsoft environment, and we just don't have time to go through all of those. But let me share with you about the latest and greatest for, in fact, the Citrix environment. When we recently built a new zero client for Citrix, we wanted to build something that was not only fast, but it was fast and easy. And we wanted to build something that simplified the process of connecting, logging in, managing, maintaining, and delivering a great user experience. And so we built this new zero client called Xenith. And why Xenith is the zero client for the Citrix environment? It's a very simple, small device. You see it right there in the palm of the hand. There's a little antenna that lets you connect wirelessly or through a wired connection. And that's a unique element. Most zero client devices, which are quite frankly sort of an older generation of thinking, don't support wireless. So Xenith is what's called a next generation zero client. So it supports wireless or wired connections and does its job all in that tiny footprint. What makes Xenith neat as an endpoint is it has a number of capabilities. First, Xenith devices deliver the benefit of having no delays. That means they're really, really fast. Let me kind of tell you what I mean by really, really fast. Most of you are used to starting up your PC, or some of you may be used to starting up an old-style thin client, and then waiting for 2 or 3 minutes before it's ready to be ready for you to log in and access your data and start working, for gosh sakes. And often that time is good to go and get a coffee break, but nowadays life's moving too fast. I don't have time for coffee. I'll have a Red Bull. Let's just give me something that's instant on. And so when you push the power button on a product like a Xenith, in only 2 seconds, the device has already discovered its Citrix server. And in fact, in that 2 seconds, it looks to see whether there's a newer version of the Citrix HDX protocol that it should be using. So it's always up to date. If it does have an update, it'll update its engine in another 3 seconds and deliver the Citrix-ready log-on display in 8 seconds. And so in 10 seconds, from power on to log in, I'm on and ready to work. No other device is this fast and this intelligent in delivering the Citrix experience. So instant on, that's pretty cool. What about, however, management? And so we wanted to build a product that absolutely didn't need any management at all, but an important element of it is many zero client devices are made of exclusively hardware and don't have any software component. We thought this was a good design at one time, but what we found out is it's a great design for maybe 1 or 2 years of use, but it is certainly not going to get you 8 years of use. The reason for that is that security protocols and connection protocols to your data change all the time. So what you really want is a zero client that's able to adapt and benefit from changes in the industry and changes in protocols. So we delivered a product and functionality in Xenith. So when you connect it, for instance, to your Zen desktop environment and you power it up, of course, like I said in the last slide, it's going to be able to say, how do you want me to work? And the Citrix system will automatically send its configuration down to it. This takes less than a second. And of course, it will also send the Citrix receiver for Xenith to it, the latest, greatest, up-to-date HDX protocol reader. And so this is what makes the user experience so nice. Now, that engine is very, very tiny. In fact, it is smaller than the size of a single digital photograph. Oh, there's Lady Gaga. So it's a very tiny little file, easy to maintain and manage. And every time Citrix makes improvements to the HDX protocol, you're going to get them because they automatically get delivered to the device at boot. That's one of the things that makes these kinds of devices really unique. Very smart, they maintain themselves, and so you don't have to. But what if it can't find the server? Well, then the device will simply ask you one time, and if you're the IT person, you enter the server name, and it'll remember it, and from thereafter, connect right up. Another neat benefit of this particular approach is the idea of having to eliminate all of the security challenges that we face. Wouldn't it be nice to have a device that you could deploy by the thousands where you don't have to put antivirus or malware detection or any of those sorts of things? And so we've done exactly that. We've built a device that has absolutely no security issues. And the way you do that is by having no OS. There is no Linux and there is no Windows on this device. As much as we love those operating systems, they still require protection. So we had to do away with them for Xenith. So in fact, this device is malware immune. That means that even if you had malware on your network, it's not going to be able to affect or attack these devices, nor will these devices pass that virus on to other devices you have on your network. So it's a very nice, safe type of device, especially if you're in an ultra-secure environment. So you don't need to have any firewalls or antivirus for this type of device. That sounds great. How can you make it better? Easy. Let's make it really low energy use. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, typically, you're going to be replacing a personal computer, and you're going to be replacing it with something that uses only 6.7 watts. Now, that's the same amount of energy as a Christmas tree bulb, or excuse me, a Christmas bulb that you would put on your house around the holidays. And so we've really reduced the amount of energy that these devices use, yet they deliver tremendous performance. So think about it. That's a very, very low wattage while it's on and a really low wattage while it's sleeping and waiting for you. Now let's do a quick comparison. What does that mean? It means that when you replace a 200-watt PC with a device like this, your electrical bill will decline by somewhere between $70 and $150 per year per device. And what that means in very simple terms is that ultimately this device can pay for itself in as little as 3 years on the energy savings alone, ignoring all of the other benefits it brings. That's a pretty powerful green story that goes well beyond just hugging trees. Wouldn't you agree, Valerie?
I agree.
Thank you very much. So let's talk about one of the most important elements, and that's a zero-client device has to deliver the real user experience, because otherwise, what use is it? So delivering the Citrix HDX experience is what Xenith does, and it does it in a very, very powerful way. It not only delivers terrific voice, data, and video, like I talked about, and it enables rich applications, multimedia, flash, webcams, unified communications, as well as the latest and greatest applications up to and including things like, gosh, video editing even. It delivers all of the key features of the Citrix protocol that customers care about. Now, if you're a Citrix aficionado, you'll recognize many of these things. And if you're not, just trust me, this is good stuff. HDX Media Stream for multimedia, support for full flash video and animation, remoted so that it doesn't require any sort of local flash technology built into our device, and therefore it doesn't need to be maintained or patched. HDX Plug and Play means that you can plug in and just use all of your USB peripherals, and the IT department gets to decide whether they work or not. HDX WAN optimization means that it can be used over fast networks and not so fast networks and long networks. HDX real-time delivers extended value. CSG support means you can connect it over the secure path that Citrix creates. And progressive display means that really rich applications display in a way that is effective for 3G as well as for 2G. Session reliability means that if your network isn't perfect, you'll never really know. And support for technologies like the branch repeater means that Xenith works with all the latest and greatest Citrix technology to accelerate the user experience in virtualized environments. And you can even reset your device. You can restart your virtual machine or your local device right there, so users have enough control to be able to manage their role without having to call IT when anything goes sideways. So this is sort of an example of a very powerful new architecture that makes the endpoint strategy much simpler and a much bigger part of the cost savings and productivity improvement. If you have Citrix Zen Desktop, which is the new VDI system from Citrix, or in fact Zen App, both of these systems will support a Xenith device as the endpoint. Now just a little bit about Wyse. We've been doing this for a very, very long time. We are the inventor of this sort of technology. We invented it back in 1994 and have been improving it ever since. We've sold over 20 million devices and have over 200 million users currently using this technology. So if you're considering it today, you're not the first. We have been